The wrong guy. Munro. Billy's been called a lot of things in his life, and up until this point I guess he kind of got used to it. He'd never been called a murderer before though. He ain't a murderer, because I know. I called him a lot of things myself in my time, although I ain't going to say what, because he's my brother and someone's got to count for something. I called him a lot of things that I guess he kind of got used to, but when Cheeks Mulcahy called him a murderer, it must have been what you call a wet straw. Because Billy got awful sore and handed Mulcahy a couple of slugs under and between the ribs. 32s, steel jacketed. And Mulcahy got real tired all at once, and lay down dead. There's a story behind it. Because I ain't any kind of good Catholic since I've been around 6 years old, it's also a kind of a confession. I always been a firm believer that all the stories ought to get told. I guess Billy wouldn't altogether agree with this being billed a good story. And I guess also he might not too much like the idea I've been having of writing the whole thing to the movie people and having maybe James Cagney turn out as Billy. Although this would be what you call somewhat ironical, as Billy has always been a big fan of James Cagney. At school, Billy was always called the Thief. Now, I ain't saying that was necessarily so, and then I ain't neither saying that it necessarily wasn't. But in any case, it was Billy always got in trouble when things took flight, because he was at the WAP, happened to be there having carelessly forgotten his alibi. So at school, Billy was always known as Billy Barzini. Barzini being the name of the head nun at this school. The cheap crack was that Billy spent so long with his sister Barzini that they was planning on getting married. Although as everyone knows that nuns ain't allowed to get married, I don't know what kind of bozo thought that one up. Billy hauled off out of school as soon as he could. He was never any too popular in school, and I guess things like that cast a long shadow. Billy was never too popular outside school either. He fell in with a bad crowd, mainly because there didn't seem to be any other crowds around at the time they was needed. And Billy turned the explosives guy. He didn't especially have any aptitude for it, except maybe one of his screws was loose, which I guess might be all that is necessary. And the guys he did these jobs with called him Boom Boom Billy, which he thought was kind of slick. Billy managed to explode him a good few safes and make a good few heaps of dollars that he was very proud of. He became renowned, not least to the cops who pinched him with regularity every week, only to find one of his good friends tied up with an alibi. Boom Boom Billy even made the papers, which made him kind of like a movie star, only less so. But of course, Billy being a Pastorelli, and the Pastorellis being what you might call naturally inept, only not to our faces. One time he got pinched proper and his friends didn't have no alibis, on account of them being in the bank vault with him when the cops turned up. So Billy, being Billy, turned snitch. He ratted out every one of his loyal comrades and got himself released. Naturally, this did not boost his popularity rating in any degree. The snitch is generally regarded as being at the bottom of all heaps, which is not an unjust view, because of course all snitches are necessarily louses. However, Billy did not get whacked immediately, because before such a thing could happen, Billy, being Billy, got pinched again. It was down to what you call an administrative error. Some dumb beat pounder had gotten his prisoners mixed up and chalked up homicide outside Billy's cell, instead of a grand city bank heist, or whatever that might call it. And naturally, this led to an amount of misunderstanding in the cop house, which Billy by no means appreciated. And when this Sergeant Mulcahy happened to make a small and offhand remark about Billy being a murderer, and Billy reacted in what you might call a not any too mature manner, there was plenty of cops on hand to make sure that Billy wasn't going to stroll away. It was just that Billy didn't like to be accused of things he never did. Well, Billy told this tale in court on account of it being mitigating circumstances, and also self-defense. Only the judge considered that it wasn't any of either, as every crook he ever faces tells the same story, and moreover, 232 slugs under and between the ribs. It's what they call excessive in the law books trade. Billy went and got himself sentenced to death by hanging, which was a tragedy for all concerned, and not least for me myself, as death sentences have a habit of putting a judge in what you might call a fighting mood. In my case, was the one called right after Billy's. Only the fortunate thing was that in all of the confusion, the chalkboards outside of our cells never got altered. This resulted in me myself, who was supposed to be up for popping Ha Ha Hank in Newman's barbershop 2 weeks previous, being given 3 to 5 in Sing Sing for blowing up a safe in Chicago. I guess that's what you might call landing on my feet. Only Billy, of course, won't be doing any such thing on account of his neck getting in the way.